So never ever should we invest the viability of our democracy in individuals or in just one institution or two or three individuals. It's a going concern. And truly, those that were a little bit critical yesterday might be serving a very different role now. Maybe they are in power, maybe they are serving with those that are in power, and so they may not be as critical as they were yesterday. But make no mistake, the viability of Zambian democracy is still viable, and so there's always going to be new voices rising. New voices are going to be rising every day in order to keep our democracy strong. And so we should not be um, thinking that unless the voices that were there yesterday are here today, then we've betrayed our democracy. No, those voices who were there yesterday might have changed, but they're still part of our democratic viability, and we need to encourage that.
Yeah, I just wonder because I've been here before. I remember 10 years ago as a young boy, I used to watch Uncle Frank come in and do programs here. Um, I used to watch the people that he would bring in, these critical voices. I was inspired by these critical voices.
Right.
10 years ago, PF1, those critical voices disappeared. And there was this vacuum that was left for a long period where it kind of felt like people were able to get away with certain things that they wouldn't have been able to get away with when those critical voices existed. And in a way, I kind of feel like that's what's happening now as well. I feel like there is this space that's been created where it almost feels like nobody really knows. Sometimes I joke and say it's like independence.
Right.
1964. You fight for your independence as freedom fighters. All of you have one common goal, and then you get this goal, and then it's okay. So what now?
Exactly. The next task is to govern.
Yeah.
For those that have won, the transition from being freedom fighters to becoming governors. However, our democracy still remains subsisting. It remains strong, and so we must continue serving our country. Um, the democracy itself is also redemptive. By what I mean by redemptive is that even when we feel like there is a year or two where there is a gap, democracy always restores itself to places where you begin um, providing checks and balances, where you begin providing the service that our people need. The second thing is sometimes we focus too much on criticism. We focus too much on dissenting voices, and that's very important. But we must also focus on development. What is actually going on in our country? What is actually the new government doing? And we concentrate on communicating to our people the development that we are seeing, the positive aspects of what is going on. That too is part of the viability of our democracy, not only dissenting voices.
Is it worrying as well? I mean, when you look at it from where you sit sometimes, um, when you look at opposition, do you worry slightly to say what the role is of opposition right now, who opposition is?
Well, we are coming just from an election
Yeah.
season, and our interest and the interest of many of our colleagues was to see that the thieving government I know you are in Phoenix here, and so as a media organization, probably you wouldn't want your guest to categorically say that the previous government was a thieving government.
Without proof.
But
Exactly.
but of course, with the abuse that was going on, the mismanagement of anything, beginning from the civil service to private enterprise, the abuse of national resources, and all that, we are coming from that government. And so, what we need to do here when we transition into the new government is to see that the opposition transitions into a reasonable opposition. But unfortunately, it appears like the opposition, the former ruling party, wants to come back, is agitating, is offending. They've gone out of their own way to try and almost abuse the goodwill of the Zambian people. And so on that point, I think we need to ask ourselves, if this is the kind of opposition politics that is being played by the former ruling party, they are not repentant of the kind of abuse that they took us through and the brutality of that regime. They still feel very proud of their record in service. That becomes concerning. What we were hoping was that the opposition party, the former ruling party, would come to the people of Zambia and say sorry for the many atrocities
Do they need to list those atrocities?
that they committed against
Do
our
they need to
people.
list those atrocities? And I ask this question because I have heard them say sorry. I have heard them say sorry.
Harassment of cadres, harassment by cadres in markets. My aunt, my relatives at Chiwempala market, they wouldn't be able to freely buy and sell without having some approval from a political cadre. Harassment at bus stations. The arrest of innocent people. None, for example, a few years ago, we also with horror how President Hakainde Hichilema, in opposition at that time, was detained for 127 days on flimsy charges. There was shooting of innocent people. Our people would gather together and try to express their grievances to the authorities, and they will be met by tear gas and guns, and in some cases, you could say bombs, but that's a little bit exaggerated. But they were met by guns. Just in December, we were commemorating the 1 year passing of Mr. Nsamansama and Mr. Joseph Kaunda, who were killed in cold blood, murdered by the guns that should be protecting them. And so those are the atrocities that we're talking about. And the Patriotic Front must take responsibility and say that they really wronged our people, they hurt our people, and they need to encourage this new government to do better, to serve better, and to serve our country and our people. That is what we expect to do, and we are not going to stop demanding of that, both from the ruling party and from the opposition party. A clear statement of we are sorry, we abused you, we shot at you, we killed you, we stole from you, we mismanaged your economy, we mismanaged your country, and I think the people of Zambia are willing to say, well, if you are willing to say sorry, we can talk. Because right now, not even anything that the Patriotic Front is saying is making sense anymore, because we are interpreting it from the lens of their mismanagement of our country, abuse of our resources, and total molestation of the values of our people.
I just wonder, would it help to list all these atrocities in the sorry? Because again, like I said, I've heard the now acting president of the PF, I've heard him say, we're sorry for what we did. Is it enough to just say we're sorry, or does it help to be able to actually say what you're sorry for?
I think the best thing is for the acting president, who it is confusing right now. You see, the Patriotic Front is an enterprise of deception. It's a criminal organization.
Again,
because
not factually true.
All right, yeah. Okay, that's my opinion, and I think 2.8 million Zambians agree. That's why they removed them from office. They agree that they have serious issues. So they need to come to the people of Zambia and clearly itemize the kind of molestation that they did against our people. It is not enough to just say sorry to their own Patriotic Front supporters. That's what they did. So the acting president, Given Lubinda, went and met his own supporters of the Patriotic Front and told them that he's sorry to the Patriotic Front probably. But as far as the people of Zambia are concerned, the acting president, Given Lubinda, of the opposition Patriotic Front, must come to the people of Zambia, address them publicly, and itemize each and every wrong that they did against our people. The kind of deaths that they caused, the mismanagement of the resources, and this thing of where money was all over the place, you know, in cadres' pockets, and in some cases, under their pillows and under their beds, buried deep in the homes that they built with stolen funds. And so we need a clear statement of apology. We need a clear statement of the actual atrocities that I've already outlined here, Luchi. The murdering of our people, the harassment by cadres, mismanagement of our national resources, the taking of KCM to give friends, the taking of Mopani and then accruing a $1.2 billion debt just to get Mopani back. And so all these are items that require a clear statement of apology so that the people of Zambia can begin healing and begin listening again to this opposition party.
Does it help democracy that there are doubts in one particular political party? Does it help our democracy?
That there are doubts?
Yeah. That there are doubts in terms of, okay, so let's be hypothetical and say there is no apology that comes.
Right.
Right. No apology that comes apart from what's been given. What does it do to our democracy? Does it undermine our democracy?
I think what it does
or does it then allow a different opposition party to come up?
Probably it's going to allow a different opposition party to come about, but I don't want to concentrate so much on which opposition party is going to arise. I think I want to concentrate a lot on the program that this government has for our people. Because, look, there is 25.7 million kwacha that the people of Milenge are going to receive. If they haven't received it already, that is going straight to the constituency in Milenge. In Chingola itself, with 2 constituencies, it's over 50. I need help with counting. But 25.7 plus 25.7 is about 50 or 51.2 or 51.4 million. 51 million, 51 million, 55, 56 million. I don't do very well with numbers, but it's about over 50 million kwacha has gone to the people of Chingola. And so we need to look at that and say, this is democracy at work. Not just when the opposition
but you need a strong opposition. Unfortunately, you need a strong opposition. Without a strong opposition, then you kind of allow us to go down this rabbit hole of one party being able to do anything they can do. And that's why it's very important to have, a strong opposition, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, if I were to advise the opposition patriotic front, is they have a potential to be a very strong opposition. And the potential to become a strong opposition is by, first of all, saying sorry to the people of Zambia, apologizing once more for the atrocity, directly, not this thing of acting President Gideon Lubinda going to address his supporters and saying sorry. No. Of course, he needs to apologize to his Patriotic Front supporters who lost the election very terribly. But he also must apologize to the people of Zambia. And I think if they did that, they are going to become a very good opposition, and the people of Zambia are going to take them seriously. At the moment, it's very sad to say, I'm sorry, but the opposition is pretty much decimated at the moment because of their own action, because they are not willing to face the truth, look themselves in the mirror, and see how they mismanage this country. But more than that, they're trying to come back. And so the question is, if they have not changed, if they have not said sorry, if they have not gone to the family of Nsamansama, to the family of Joseph Kaunda, to go and say sorry for the atrocities that they committed against our people, what gives them the guts to believe that they could do better if they were entrusted with power again? They have regrouped, and they are continuing to lie about what their record in government, and they're continuing to lie about the efforts that this government, this new government, the New Dawn government, is putting in moving Zambia forward, in ensuring that there is equitable distribution of wealth for our country, in ensuring that there is no corruption, in ensuring that inputs for our farmers are delivered on time, social cash transfer, reform of pension schemes, free education, 30,000 new teachers that are going to be hired around across the nation, 11,000 new health workers that are going to be hired. In fact, the process is ongoing at the moment. And so all these are the good efforts that are being done. As for the opposition, I think they have huge potential, I must say. The Patriotic Front has huge potential to be a very good opposition party. And I hope that they are going to get onto the journey of being a very good opposition party by saying sorry for the atrocities and abuse.
Okay, I'm going to take a little break. When we come back, I want to ask you this question about how quickly should people expect this change? You highlighted, and they're quite a number, but you've highlighted already some good points, that the current government has made, i.e., CDF and increasing CDF. That's a good one. But there are a few others. But how quickly should people expect change?
I should be able to answer that. Thank you.
We'll take a little break. Back shortly.
In 2021 with the bang! Celebrate this festive season with an instant 21% discount by simply buying or renewing your motor or home insurance policy with Professional Insurance. Other prices include an all expenses paid weekend getaway for two at Diamani Hotel in Livingston, 10 school fee vouchers valued at 5,000 kwacha each, 10 football vouchers valued at 2,500 kwacha each. Hashtag PICZ 21 Big Deals Promotion. To win, insure at any of our branches or website at www.picz.co.zm or download my PICZ app on Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Promotion ends on the 31st of January 2022. Professional Insurance. Your wise choice.
When we say Twin Day, we mean let's do it and get things done. When we say Twin Day, we mean let's take control of our destiny. Whether you're taking out a vehicle loan with flexible repayment terms, or a home loan with a repayment schedule personalized to your needs, or even just opening a bank account. Twin Day. Contact us on 5951 today to apply. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Nyenzo Technical School, a Seventh-day Adventist accredited boys boarding secondary school on the Copperbelt's Chingola town, 24 kilometers from the CBD and 14 kilometers from the Lamba Miners Rail Station. Nyenzo School runs from grades 8 to 12 with spacious classrooms, science and computer laboratories, and a well-stocked library for both learners and teaching staff research. The school has well-ventilated dormitories and well-stocked dining hall with scrumptious meals manned by well-experienced workers and chefs. Academically, we also offer pure sciences and technical subjects, leaving the learners with survival skills after school. For details, call 0966 787332 or visit our Facebook page. Nyenzo Technical School. We saw, you read.
Shorthorn Printers Limited is the leading commercial printing company in Zambia, specialized in security, general, and hologram printing. Now offers embroidery, graphic designing services, and bond paper sales. Call 0211 240 120 or 0957 058 676 or 0955 662 252 or visit us at plot number 5285 Mungu Road, Lusaka. Visit our website shorthornprinters.co.za or check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Shorthorn Printers Limited. Shorthorn Printers Limited, a printer of choice in Zambia.
This festive, I'll be good because I choose to watch Patson Daka score again and again. I choose the best local dramas. I choose music from Kalindula to hip hop. I choose the most heart-touching shows.
You and every other man forget the love of your life just like that. So easy, so quick.
For kids, I choose cartoon shows that are full of laughter. Hell yeah! Choose over 100 channels full of joyful entertainment. Choose DSTV and get a Zappa HD decoder, dish kit, and 1 month compact package for only 699 kwacha. DSTV, it's your moment.
Phoenix FM.
It's 9:30. Welcome back to Let the People Talk. Our guest on the program this morning, Mr. Elias Munshya, Canadian-based lawyer. Before the break, I asked you about how quickly people should expect change. Is there a reasonable time frame that exists for people to begin to experience this change, this new dawn change?
Thank you, Luchi. So as far as change is concerned, we need to look at it in terms of three ideas. First of all, there was the change that wasn't. Because if you are expecting change now and the timeline in which it is supposed to come, you must always begin by what was there before so that you can easily compare. Where are we coming from? We are coming from clear deficits, billions of dollars in debt, complete mismanagement of our economy. There was no confidence in jobs. The Kwacha was confused. That is where we are coming from. And so what is happening now, we can already see change. In what ways can we see change? We can see change in terms of the stability of policy. It's like suddenly what we used to have were people that were kawayawayas who had absolutely no idea of what they were doing. And suddenly we have stable leadership, abaume, governing this country. They know what they are doing, and so that is very important. Those are signs of change. That is change. What else are we seeing? We are seeing the employment of 30,000 new teachers. That is change. We are seeing the employment of 11,000 new teachers. That is change. We are seeing a very steady government that is willing to make very difficult decisions in order to save this country. That is change. I think change has already come. I mentioned this before, but I've got to say it once more. Milenge is going to get 25.7 million in CDA funds. That is change. And so is Chingola. And so is Kawata. So is the entire country. Actualization of decentralization. That is change. We have seen that there is peace on our bus stops. There is no longer harassment by cadres of the UPND, very peaceful people. We are seeing that peace is change. There is change in the political sphere. Right now, people have got this newly found freedom of saying whatever they want. And when they are taken into jail in the morning, 5 hours later, they are given bail or bond. There is no longer this abuse, assault of Zambian bodies. That is change. Now, there is also a change that is going to come. The change that is going to come is now the actualization of some of these hopes and dreams of our people. Dreams such as free education up to university level. That is change that is going to come, but the fundamentals are already in place. There is no careless stealing. There is no stealing going on under the New Dawn. This New Dawn has prioritized the fight against corruption. And so there is change that is going to come tomorrow as well. But most crucially, the people of Zambia are willing to sacrifice as long as their government is talking to them, as long as their government is inspiring them, as long as the government leaders are sacrificing with our people. What used to happen previously was there was difficulties in the economy. And make no mistake, the Lungu administration did not fall just because there were economic difficulties. Our people are willing to go through very difficult economic situations as long as they see that their sacrifice is being replicated by their leaders. As long as they see that this is a battle which they are fighting together with their leaders. And I think those are the positive signs we are seeing. And I think those are the positive signs of the change that the people are expecting.
Yeah. But are they being spoken to?
The people of Zambia?
Yeah, are they being spoken
to? That's exactly what I'm doing.
When you say something like, Zambians they're ready to experience pain, even though it's economic pain. Right. And maybe the best example of this pain is obviously fuel and the removal of subsidies and the fuel hike. Would you say that Zambians were spoken to, prepared, told that this is why we're doing this? These are the long-term benefits.
One of the things that we removed the previous government was that, you see, sweet talk doesn't work. We were not looking for sweet talk. We were looking for the cold, hard truth. And as soon as the new Minister of Finance went into office, he started giving us hints of the mess he found at that ministry. And he told us very clearly, the Vice President of our country, Her Honor, Mtalena Lumango, she made it very clear to Parliament weeks and weeks before the subsidies were removed that we are facing a very difficult fiscal situation. And unless we make a very difficult decision now, we are going to continue experiencing serious assault on our economy. And so they prepared us. When the Minister of Finance himself was now going to implement those plans, he came very openly. And in fact, if you remember very well, he received a lot of flack for some of the words that he used. But this is a government that is willing to say the truth, no matter the consequences. They have invested political capital on something that is very important to the growth of our country. Removal of subsidies so that they can have enough money to go and invest in areas that are going to help develop our country. Education, drugs in hospitals, and CDF. That is distributed not at Lusaka, with Lusaka as the center, where this CDF is distributed to the particular constituencies. Something that has never been done in the history of our country, where Milenge, imagine, Milenge has received 25.7 million kwacha. And it's not just Milenge, it's all over Liua, Sioma, Gacholola, Chadiza, Lumezi. All these places, they've received this funding. It means then that we are headed in the right direction. The people have been told that they are willing to sacrifice. And each step of the way, the New Dawn administration is communicating, but it is communicating in a very forthright and truthful manner.
There'll be those that
running the risk.
There'll be those that will disagree. They will say that the communication is actually very poor.
Well, if you know,
hazard, it's poor. Too many people are spreading one message, being communicated in different ways and different manners.
Well, I think the key of communication is that the other side gets exactly what is being, what the other person intended. The New Dawn administration intended to bring a budget, a proper budget for the people. They delivered it, and they told us, and we saw it. So those people who are saying that there is lack of communication or anything like that, here is the question: lack of which communication? Because we've been told. When the budget was presented, the numbers, everybody went through the numbers. In fact, the opposition, the former ruling party, they even came up and cooked up all the lies concerning that budget. They said all sorts of things. And yet it was very clear the budget was there to help our country come out of these very difficult economic situations. That is communication. When this government gave us free education, right now, schools are going to be opening soon, and our children are not going to take any way. No child is going to be sent away. That is communication. When they were purchasing drugs in order to help our hospitals, they told us. That is communication. When the president was employing 30,000 new teachers, they told us. Of course, as far as 30,000 new personnel is concerned, it might take a little bit because it's a huge project to employ 30,000 people. Just employing one, imagine the kind of hassle that even this company here, Luchi, goes through to hire just one person, like human resource assistant. The kind of logistics that you must put in place to do all that. Now imagine 30,000 new teachers across the country. It's definitely going to take a few more days, if not a few more weeks, but surely it's going to be delivered because money has already been sourced. And so for those that are saying that there is no communication, which communication? I think the New Dawn administration is a government of communication. It has told us exactly what it has done. It has told us exactly what it intends to do. His Excellency, the President, has been very categorical in explaining. In fact, as a matter of fact, they have over-explained themselves. Even when the President is talking, one of the complaints that people are having is the President over-explains things because he's a very good communicator and he has communicated to the people of Zambia, and the people of Zambia are coming together to develop their country. They are willing to sacrifice. They are receiving marching orders from their commander-in-chief, and they are investing their time. They are investing their education. They are investing their technical expertise to see that they develop their country. This is not just about Zambians in Zambia, Zambians from around the world as well. The diaspora Zambians, they are coming back to their country. They are looking at all these positive things that are being implemented, and they're saying there is something good that is happening here, and we are coming here.
I agree with you partially that there is a lot of communication. I agree with you wholeheartedly that the President does explain himself quite a bit.
Right.
And maybe that's a bad thing as well sometimes. And now let me clarify why I say sometimes that can be a bad thing.
Right.
As candidates, not as president, but as candidate, the president at the time, and he is on record as saying many things. One of them relates to, for example, fuel and what the correct price of fuel is.
Yeah.
You and I are both on social media, so we've both seen. Worse me, because I spoke to him as candidate a number of times, and so he explained this to me a number of times. But he believed that he wanted fuel to be lower than it currently is. So how do you explain that?
All right,
and that's what I mean when I say communication, because you have everything that he said. You have written documentation of what he said in terms of fuel, and then you have this.
No, Luchi, I think you're talking of two separate matters here. So the first thing is we need to agree that the New Dawn government is a government of good communication. They have communicated, beginning from the president. So this is not just about low-level operatives communicating. No, the president himself has prioritized communication. That's why he talks to us. Remember, we are coming from 7 years, if not 10 years, of lack of communication, complete information embargo right from State House. Now we have a president who is willing to sit down, and in fact, he sat down with you, Luchi, as commander-in-chief, and he explained his program. And he would preface that with clear communication. Do you understand? This is very important, and outlined his program and outlined the agenda that he has for this country. That is excellent, and it should be commended. We need to have consensus about that the New Dawn administration has done very well in terms of communication. The other thing that you have pointed out here, it's equally important, and that is what he said before he came into office and what he has seen after coming into office. The most important thing about every leader is the ability to make difficult decisions that helps us in the long run. It's not just about going back to all the promises that you made, but actually when you come into office, making difficult decisions that help your country. In other words, a leader must not be bound by everything they said when they were campaigning, but rather they must be bound by fidelity to the country and what they find obtaining at that moment. That is a sign of a good leader. Now, imagine if he decided to say, I'm going to leave this subsidy in place for fuel. It means then that we were going to continue losing, and the numbers are somewhat varied here, but it could be between $100 million to $1 billion every year going to subsidies. And when you do that, you are removing a huge chunk of money that should have gone to social service provision. This president came into office, looked at what was obtaining, and they, together with the Minister of Finance, together with the Vice President, so this Hakainde Nalumango administration, they looked at the numbers and they said, in order for our country to come out of the hole that we were sinking deep into, we needed to remove the subsidies. Now, of course, there is a lot of semantics about removal of subsidies. The money is still there, except that that money has been now been repurposed to do something that tangibly helps our people, like free education. That is what it is. Instead of having that money go to a cartel of oil suppliers, who mostly were ruling party cadres of that time, that money is now still in the economy, and yet it is the money that is helping our people, taking children to school, buying drugs in hospitals, helping our country, employing 30,000 new teachers, employing 11,000 new health workers, and investing into small and medium enterprises in our country. That is where that money is going. And so to every Zambian out there who is wondering what is happening as far as this subsidy is concerned, worry no more, because that money is still there and it is being repurposed to be used for our country. We have so many needs right now, but at least the beginning point is, let us repurpose this subsidy. Let us invest it into programs that are going to help our people, so that 2022, 2023, 2024, even 2026, we are going to begin reaping the benefits of these courageous decisions. That is what we needed to do.
What you're essentially saying is suffer now. That's the plan. Suffer now. Long term, you see the benefits.
Now, it's not like Zambia has to suffer in a wholesale. Already, we have already seen the benefits. Like, what is suffering about 30,000 new teachers? That's not suffering. Imagine in Kawata, what will happen is, let's say Kawata being a constituency, it might receive maybe, even if it received 50 new teachers, it means then that it's 50 new beds. It means then that it's 50 new mattresses. It means it's probably new vikwatis, if you poor. Because when people are in employment, they can even feel a little bit more at liberty. Kanshi unomwaka with 30,000 new teachers, we are going to see a lot of marriages that we've never seen in the history of our country, because young people have jobs. So when you say that suffer now and benefit later, we must look at it in terms of sectors. At the moment, there is a lot that has happened already. Change has already come. Let us look at that change. And also let us now look at the change that is going to come and look at the picture together. Because if you just say that suffer now and benefit tomorrow, it might appear as if there is no good thing that is happening already. No. The good is already here.
Okay.
If you put 30,000 new
rephrase
teachers, 11,000 new health workers, isn't that great?
Let me rephrase. On a personal level,
right?
On a personal level, there will be many people who feel that there hasn't been change.
Right.
On a personal level. So I can give you an example. The essential commodities are still as high as they were before August. Fuel is even more expensive now than it was before August. This is what I mean when I say on a personal level.
Right.
Not much has changed. And that's why I ask you, how quickly should people on a personal level expect change to happen?
Okay. I do, again, we go back to the same thing. When you are saying that on a personal level, people are not experiencing the change, we need to look at this. 30,000 new teachers means on a personal level, these 30,000 new teachers are going to pump thousands of kwachas into the Zambian economy. And so on a personal level, that is change, and it is going to affect a lot of people. And now, I do understand that sometimes the economy is a feeling, how people are feeling optimistic about their future. In fact, it's one of the metrics of human health, one of the indices of human health. And that's why this government has been communicating, and I'm here with you, Luchi, in order for our people across this country to know and begin feeling optimistic about their future. They've got a government that is taking care of them, that is hopeful of their future. And so with this hope, they can begin investing their little kwachas that they have into enterprises. They can begin they can begin looking out for opportunities for their friends. They can begin looking at how they can form cooperatives in order to take advantage of the funding that has gone to Milenge and Chiwempala, small scale industries, small scale businesses. And so on that point, I think there is a lot of good feeling that is going to come to our economy and to individuals.
Okay. Here's let me read you one text message. There are a lot more coming in. Thank you very much to everybody who's sending in text messages. I support this government, but you're wrong when you say a leader must be bound by what he finds when in office. What you ask for a vote and trust that you will serve the promises you make should be fact-based. All that needs to be said on the fuel price issue is we criticize the driver from the passenger seat.
All right. So I think thank you very much for that text messages. What is needed about a leader, I must say this once more, is that a leader must be steady, that when they are governing, they are making decisions that are in the best interest of our people. That's very important. Because if you make a promise and yet you discover that that promise is not very easy to implement immediately, it requires courage. And what is the courage in this instance? The courage was to repurpose the subsidy so that that money can go and be an investment in social services for our people. But while that is happening, it is then opening up enough money for the government to continue operating and serving our people. That is what I meant. I did not mean that the president should disregard the promises that he made. What I am saying is that once you begin governing, you become a steady leader to solve the problems of your country, including repurposing that subsidy to invest it in social services. Remember, the president did not just promise that fuel is going to be reduced, but he also promised that there's going to be free education. So he comes, he looks at the numbers, he looks at the sacrifices of our people, he cares for the people of Chipulukusu, the people of Kawata, the people of Milenge and Senanga, and then he decides to say, the best course of action that we must do here is not the rhetoric of Bukelenka, and sweet talk, but it is courageous leadership. Wow, amala yamwaume yashari na kuchishiki. You stand strong in order to serve your country. That's exactly what he's doing by making some of these decisions in order to serve our people. And the results have already started showing. And if you said 2022 has got anything positive being promised here, it is the positive trajectory that this country is going to go through. The kind of investment that is going to come on the grassroots. It's amazing.
Okay, let me take a break for news. We'll be back after 10 o'clock. If you want to call us, you can. 226-841-0978-895-895. You can text as well. Many thanks to everybody who has been texting in the past hour. 0978-895-895 for your text messages. Back shortly.
FM.
Good news to all our valued customers. Please be informed that Tottenham Film Services is excited to announce that it has reduced its interest rates. You are therefore invited to visit any of our Tottenham offices near you for a new loan, top-up, or a reloan under the new rates, terms, and conditions, and enjoy these competitive rates. For all new clients, bring a latest payslip, one passport size photo, NRC copy, and the latest bank statement. You can find us in Lusaka Province, Copperbelt Province, and all other provinces of Zambia. Contact us on 0966 775064 or send an email to loans@tottenham.co.zm. Our dedicated team will be on standby to assist. Tottenham, a helping hand when you need one.
Your dream to own a house is finally here. Miles Property Consultancy and Estates Agents introduce the majestic Emerald Housing Project, spreading across 47 hectares of serene land located in Chamba Valley, just 10 kilometers from Highbury Roundabout. With 693 luxurious houses to be constructed, here is your opportunity to own a home in a safe and secure gated community with well-designed road networks, designated outdoor sports arenas, and provision of commercial shops. Our housing units range from single occupancy to the exquisite double story at the most affordable payment plan. With 10% commitment fee, construction commences at 40% deposit, making it 50%, enabling you occupancy at an unbeatable payment plan for the remainder. Contact Zambia's leading real estate agency on 0971 7668.
No, someone carried it.
Someone carried it?
Yeah.
71 or email
Oh.
located at 44 Joseph Winter Road, Road Spark, Miles Property States agents, making your realty dreams a reality.
Imagine finding out your doctor does not have any certification. Wouldn't that be your worst nightmare? Your health is critical. So is the health of your business. Entrust your critical workloads and systems with a data center services provider that is certified by global authorities. Infratel is the only data center in Zambia that is Tier 3 certified by the Uptime Institute of the United States of America, ISO 27001 certified by the British Standards Institute, and PCI DSA certified by the PCI Council of the United Kingdom. Now here is a certified doctor that you can trust for your digital transformation journey. Call 0211 427 200 or email sales@infratel.co.zm. Infratel, accessible everywhere.
Hi, I'm Jide Drogba, Safe Steps Road Safety Ambassador for Africa. Remember, motorcycles are one of the most dangerous forms of transport. Always wear a helmet, stay visible, and keep a safe distance. Play your part and help make Africa's roads safer.
For more information, visit safesteps.com. Safe Steps Road Safety Africa, brought to you by Prudence Foundation and the Didier Drogba Foundation.
Do you want to bet on the big derby but have no data? That's no problem! You can now deposit and bet without any data using the MTN USSD stream. Simply dial *303# and follow the prompts. You'll never miss your chance to get in on the action. Bet now at betway.co.zm. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by Lotteries Board.
Bringing you the best, giving you the best, giving you the feeling, quenching the thirst, drink some water, giving you the feeling, quenching the thirst.
Aquarize, live a vibrant life.
Hey, Zam Traditional you want to, the African traditional drink is here. With our value for our tradition, Zambian Oriental Investment Limited brings to you the Yummy Zam Traditional you want to, which comes in 500 milliliter bottle. Our you want to is suitable for all ages and occasions. You can get yourself a bottle of this natural and uncarbonated you want to at any retail store near you at an affordable price. For more details, you can call us on 0971 548 457. We are located on Naishishi Road, Light Industry Area, Lusaka. Sam Traditional Jiwantu, the traditional African drink.
The community news is brought to you with the compliments of National Health Insurance Management Authority, NIMA. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
The headlines: Crocodile kills woman in Kawampo. Army worms destroy 700 hectares of maize in Central Province. To present the community news, I'm Lusubilo Gondwe. Kawampo District Commissioner Hubert Chinyanga has expressed sadness at the death of a 41-year-old woman who was attacked and partially eaten by a crocodile in Kawampo River over the weekend. Mr. Chinyanga has since appealed to the Department of National Parks and Wildlife to visit the district and crop the crocodiles, which he says have since increased in number. He has since appealed to residents of Kawampo to always be vigilant as they use the river, especially that the population of crocodiles has increased. The deceased, identified as Sandra Kalukangu, is alleged to have been attacked at around 18:30 hours on Saturday, and a search was instituted, but her body, which was partially eaten, was only retrieved from the river at about 08:30 hours on the 9th of January 2022. The body of the deceased has since been buried as no foul play is suspected in the matter. Army worms have broken out in all 12 districts of Central Province. The Principal Agricultural Officer, Julius Malipa, says at least 100 farmers have been affected across all districts and 700 hectares of maize fields destroyed. Mr. Malipa says the most affected districts are Mukushi and Mumbwa, while Luano is the least hit, Zanis reports. Mr. Malipa has since appealed to government to urgently make pesticides available to control the ravaging pests. He says the outbreak of armyworms in the province is a threat to both household and national food security. He further observed that the pests have potential to wipe out many hectares of crops, especially maize, within a short period of time. Mr. Malipa has also advised agricultural camp and extension officers in the province to make leftover chemicals from the last farming season available to farmers to fight the pests that are ravaging the crops. He has attributed the outbreak of the 4 armyworms to the drought that the province has experienced. To end the community news, another look at the headlines. Crocodile kills woman in Kawampo. Armyworms destroy 700 hectares of maize in Central Province. Keep listening to Phoenix FM.
The community news was brought to you with the compliments of National Health Insurance Management Authority, NIMA. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
NIMA members, you are entitled to all the health services in our benefit package without making any out-of-pocket payments at point of accessing healthcare. Under medical care, you're entitled to consultations, examinations, diagnostic services, nursing care, hospitalization, and intensive care unit. Under surgery, the scheme gives you access to general surgery, anesthetics, orthopedics, pediatric surgery, as well as ear, nose, and throat surgery. Under maternity and neonatal care, you're entitled to antenatal care, normal or cesarean delivery, and postnatal care. Under pharmaceutical drugs and supplies, you can access prescription generic drugs, medical supplies, and blood products. And that's not all, because the scheme also gives you access to selected oral, eye, and physiotherapy health services. For more information, visit www.nima.co.zm or call us on toll-free 8000. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
10:04, welcome back to Let the People Talk. Our guest on the program this morning, Mr. Elias Munshya. Just before I go to the phone lines and read you a couple of text messages, there is someone who sent a text while the news was on, who wanted us to have a conversation about corruption. And they remembered some of the sentiments that you made the last time you were here in terms of the best ways of dealing with corruption. I don't know if you want me to remind you on what your thoughts were the last time.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the best way is to seize property, not necessarily go for people, but to seize their property, because it's much harder for you to prove in a court of law that someone was corrupt, but it's a lot easier for you to grab their property where you suspect that there have been crimes done.
Yes.
You still stand by that?
Yes.
Are you happy with what you've seen since the last time we spoke, which was sometime in September? Are you happy with what you've seen in terms of the fight against corruption?
I think
more needs to be done.
I think our people deserve to know the truth about this situation, because if you look at one of the statements that was coming from the Anti-Corruption Commission or the DEC, they said a particular individual, I think it's in public domain, Luchi, and so I should throw a name here.
I'd rather you didn't throw the name.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine, Luchi. It's okay. This is your platform. If I was on TV, I would have.
I know you would.
Okay, so there is this particular individual from the statement of the Anti-Corruption Commission, but they also added a person unknown. Now, with this person unknown, it means then that there should be somebody who is unknown at the moment, and most of the things that we are seeing may be connected to the person unknown. That being the case, it requires a lot of wisdom, a lot of patience until we find the person or the persons unknown. What we know at the moment is that the Anti-Corruption Commission and the DEC are intensifying their efforts at investigating these crimes. And sooner or later, they are going to get to the bottom of these crimes. And for those that they have enough evidence, again, to the highest degree of beyond a reasonable doubt, they are going to institute prosecutions. I have no doubt about that. In fact, the Chief Justice of our country, Dr. Mumba Malila, instituted a new court system yesterday, which is known as the Commission on Financial Crimes Court, if I'm not mistaken. It's a new division within the High Court that is going to be dedicated to dealing with these kind of things. And so the judiciary has shown us what it is doing. And so we are hoping that the Honorable Minister of Justice, who has been working, again, he has told us that, he's been working, and the New Dawn administration has been working on this program of having fast-track courts and various other infrastructure in order to deal with these crimes. I'm extremely satisfied that it's going to, people are going to be prosecuted. But more than that, I'm also very satisfied that they have started looking at property. 65 million kwacha has been confiscated back to the state. Several properties have been confiscated back into the state. And I think the investigating wings need to continue looking at property and grabbing it back, so that that property goes back to the people of Zambia to help the people of Zambia develop social services, social cash transfer, money that they receive that the less privileged in our country, older people receive. Some of them are my own relatives. They receive some of that money and it helps. And so yes, I'm very satisfied with the pace, and I know that sooner or later, it's all going to be good.
Are you also satisfied with the law enforcement agencies?
So far, they have done what they can do. They are investigating these matters. These are extremely complex situations. It's theft, of course, pure theft. It's theft, but it's a little bit complicated because maybe it involves persons unknown, and once it involves persons unknown, you are very little thing to work with. But I'm very sure that with the funding that they have received in the new budget, because funding is very important, we might be thinking that no, all we have to do is kapokola vaya ikato muntu bamtwala muchifungo, like what used to happen previously. No, this time around, first of all, kuchta investigate. In other words, you invest resources, time and money, and then you go and investigate all these cases. Once you do a good job at investigation, it's very easy for you to convince a judge at a later stage. And so they are doing very well. Some people
searching people's houses.
Yeah, some people are complaining.
Is that a sign of doing a good job, or shouldn't I'm only going to speak about it from a movie perspective, but when you search someone's house in the movie, you're very close to effecting an arrest. Nowadays, I see people searching property, and you go 2-3 a month, no news.
Oh, they are very, very. It's remember, this is not a movie. Yeah. If this were a movie, it would be the New Dawn movie. The New Dawn movie, which is actually reality. And so it's taking a little bit of time because they're doing a thorough job. By the time that an investigation wing actually goes into searching, it means that they have some backup information. They do have some information, and they are only continuing that investigation. And so we are looking at that. We are very happy with the progress that is being done. Of course, some are throwing tantrums and complaining, and yet these are the same individuals that had unexplained wealth just a few months ago. And we kept asking them this question. Gentlemen, imwe you came into power with katu kwacha, na mupeta katu kwacha in your back pocket. And then within months, suddenly you became wealthy Zambians. Now, where did you get all this money from? And they told us all sorts of stories. They told us they're businessmen, and just common sense. I run a small business myself, and several other business owners. When you ask them, is this normal? And they tell you no. Takwaba, ukweba tumuntu, akwete tu kwacha lero, mutumba, back pocket tu kwacha. And then within a month, he's alef foresha ama 2 million in old money, 2 billion kwacha. Shafmaku business, indeed. And that's why the law enforcement agencies are doing a thorough job at the moment. Going into these homes, obtaining, first of all, they are obtaining what is known as a warrant. It means that a judge, alole shapo, body evidence. Alole Shapo. Elo Ama law enforcement agencies, they ask this judge to say, give a sign off here because we suspect to Kawata they have buried some money or they have buried some stolen things in their bed, under their beds. That's where they buried things. And so that's how the law enforcement agencies are proceeding. And if they go there and they find that indeed there is nothing that they are going to say. But at least we are very, very proud of the work that they are doing. We are encouraging them to continue doing it. We've seen the funding in the budget for law enforcement, and this is excellent. And so let us continue. Those who were thinking that it's very slow pace, they are now panicking because the law is catching up with them. So there's a lot of fear. Some of them want, in fact, to go and consult witches and acquire some witchcraft so that they can try to fight this. But you can't bewitch the people of Zambia because Zambia is a Christian nation. So because no weapon fashioned against Zambians is going to prosper because Zambia is a Christian nation. It is in the hands of God. And so if you've stolen anything, and they were given amnesty, remember, Luchi. Her Honor, the Vice President, did say, you see, if you have stolen money from the people of Zambia, come clean. Weshenda lama waiba, kuisa mkweba bena Zambia kwa batine kwena nadi iba pweshi. Return it to the people of Zambia. Imbi abena Zambia kutiba kuerera nango instead of locking you up for 5 years or 10 years. Bakumfuira ko se panto na ubweshe mpia waibire. That is the kind of thing that we want to be seeing. So yes, we are extremely proud of the work that law enforcement is doing. We are only encouraging them, let them do pick up pace. I know this is a new year, new funding, new budget, new money, so they've got some money. There is some willingness from the judiciary, from the Chief Justice of our country with the creation of a new court, the hiring of new police officers. Recently, they were graduating. And so that is very positive as far as law enforcement is concerned. And I have no doubt that sooner or later, those that stole from our country better be afraid. In fact, after this program, thieves should think twice and begin taking advantage of the new Dawn's policy of that direction that they were given. Return money back to the SEC. So they need to make phone calls right now to the SEC and say, Vane, it's true. A
couple of questions here from our listeners. Let me begin with the phone call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. What's your name?
I'm Chanda calling from Twitter.
Yes, Chanda, go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Munshya.
Good morning. How are you, Chanda?
I'm good. Yeah, Mr. Munshya, I think from your explanation, I can conclude that you are UPND, not so.
I just want to know how being UPND is relevant to what I'm talking about. Isn't it that we need to deal with issues? And so do you have an issue with what I have talked about? Let us deal with issues. Before we go to membership or affiliation, what are the issues?
Charles, is there an issue? Is there a question?
On the issue, I don't know to have a clarification whether you are UPND or not.
Okay. All right. Are you?
All right. Now, this is a very big question. The reason why it is not a straightforward question is, what does it mean to be UPND? Throughout my life, and beginning from several years ago, we noticed that there was something wrong that was going on in our country. Our country was bleeding and it was beaten. It was being abused every day. And so we responded and looked at the various political players and hoped that the UPND government and President Hakainde Hichilema are the best servants that are going to help shape our country back. And so it really depends on how you define what that membership is. If membership means supporting a vehicle,
can you be
servants,
objective then? Maybe that should be the better phrase. Can you be objective?
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is, and I get this question a lot. Yeah. People ask me, can you be objective? And I tell them, I'm not an objective person. What am I? I'm a human being who looks at the information, because there is nothing to be objective about if, for example, you have two citizens of your country. Police come, they find people peacefully gathered, and then they run shots in cold blood and kill two of your citizens. When I was being asked to say, Elias Munshya, be objective, I said, I cannot be objective. There is a death here that has happened as a result of poor political leadership.
That's one example.
We needed to act.
Yeah, that's one example.
When our country was being looted, when people were stealing from this country, I said, they were asking me, Elias Munshya, could you please be objective? I said no. When they locked up this current president for 127 days in jail, I used the tool that I had in Calgary, in Calgary, and we came live nearly every day to advocate, to speak to the leaders of this country, to tell them, you need to be reasonable, follow the law, release that man because he has committed no crime. People were saying, just be objective. And I said, no, I could not be objective. And so instead of looking at all these words, semantics, objective, subjective, let us go to the substance of the issues. Let us go to the 25.7 million CDA funds. What is objective about it? What is subjective about it? It's money. So 25.7 million in CDA funds is there. 30,000 new breadwinners, it's there. 11,000 new health workers, it's there. So how else am I supposed to look at it? You know, the fight against corruption, respect for Zambia in the region. All these are positive signs. Reform of the pension schemes, confidence in the economy, small and medium enterprises. In fact, they have got a dedicated ministry for small and medium enterprises. I look at all these things. Okay, they may be objective. I look at all these issues objectively, and I say that we are headed in the right direction. We need to support this government. We need to work together as one people to see that we bring development to our country. And this new Dawn administration has set a blueprint for that development. I must support it.
Okay. Hello, morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, thank you. How are you, sir? What's your name?
Hi, thank you. You're speaking to Wiseman calling from Kawa.
Oh, Wiseman, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Commander.
Wiseman, part of my TV evacuator crew.
Exactly, sir. Proud to hear it from you, and welcome home. Welcome to Zambia.
Thank you.
But the only two questions for you, comment. Number one, I want you to analyze the political lenses which the opposition Promotional they are playing, especially the binoculars guy. Recently, we heard from the audio where I was calling a president some palatable, which went viral, and I saw it to be unfit into democracy. What is your analysis on the way the opposition participants are playing their checks and balances? We have got a setback in Kawata. What do you think as a lawyer should be done immediately should be done to solve that kind of setback? Do we need to be caging the people who put the country on that cost, take them to jail? Because the money we have lost on that by-election, it is too much just to go into the West. Why do you think the quick and possible solution? Calamity.
Wiseman, thank you very much. Let's begin from there, actually.
Yeah, thank you, Wiseman. Now, regarding binoculars, I know that this is an active investigation. In fact, the matter is in court about the sentiments that the gentleman used against His Excellency the President. I have confidence that the law enforcement agencies have investigated this matter and that our courts of law are going to look into it. And I should not have any comment regarding those specific allegations, except also to just be concerned that the Opposition Patriotic Front Party has the potential to be a very good opposition party, but they need to be reasonable. They need to flow with the concerns of the Zambian people. But unfortunately, the Opposition Patriotic Front continues to be a criminal enterprise, a criminal organization that wants to hide its loot. By now, it should have come in the open to bring back the money that it stole, you know? But no.
If at all it's stole.
If at all it's stole,
Yes,
you see.
if at all it's stole.
Now, I realize, Luchi, that Luchi doesn't want me to be free here, you know? This is very unfair. But anyway, if at all
We're
it's stole...
still bound by the tenets, of good journalism. And so it's important for me to remind you.
Right.
And you know this. You know better than I do.
All right.
As a lawyer, you know better than I.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, you win.
Yeah.
So now, if it's supposed to be bringing back Olubia, because we've seen it objectively. There is 65 million that was hidden somewhere. So we need to see that this opposition party helps this government. If anything, if there is any help that this government needs, it's for this opposition party to be very forthright and help this government get back the money that was stolen from the people of Zambia, according to Luchi, if at all they stole. Anyway, so that's it on the binoculars. The other thing on Kawata is it's very concerning. My own interpretation of this constitutional text is those ideas of resignation from the party applies to the general election. It shouldn't apply to a by-election. The reason being that if you let that provision, I think it's Article 56, apply to a by-election, you're going to get into an endless loop of by-elections, and you are not going to have any by-election because any Jim and Jack out there gets nominated, gets into the nomination. After it expires, they resign or they do some funny thing, and then you've got to cancel that and start again. That is the concern that we have here in Kawata, and that's why perhaps the best thing should have been the Electoral Commission of Zambia should have still gone ahead, and perhaps if any person wanted to challenge that, they should have gone to court, so that the Constitutional Court helps us with this, because it cannot be the intention of our legislature that we enter into a ceaseless loop of nominations and by-elections simply because somebody has resigned. The other thing is we need to also look at the reasons for resignation. This gentleman from a very small political party, again, we need to be very categorical here. Tuntemba parties are part of our democracy, and we respect you small parties. You are good for our Zambian democracy. But these Tuntemba parties should not begin assaulting the goodwill of our people. So much investment goes into Kawata. And in fact, two leading candidates emerge. And the people of Kawata are preparing to replace the MP who passed away. May he so rest in peace. And then this gentleman decides to resign for very flimsy reasons such as one candidate does not have an accent that he likes. Zambia is not an accent. Zambia is a republic that is open to all people. Ine ngati nakamba chinyanja apa muzatala. But I'm a Zambian. Venangu cannot even string 2 or 3 sentences in Ichivemba, nangu ichaushi. They are Zambian. We cannot begin going after people's accents and on that basis saying that they are not Zambian. That is the concern that we had with this particular resignation in Kawata. If anything, the law already provides a remedy for you. If you are aggrieved that this candidate is either of questionable origins or something like that, you're supposed to go to court. You're not supposed to resign. You're not supposed to cause another by-election or cause the cancellation of a very expensive endeavor. That is not tolerable. As a matter of fact, if this matter is investigated by the police and other law enforcement agencies to see whether there is any tribalism, because tribalism is a crime in Zambia, tribalism, or accentism, or racism, yes, this gentleman needs to be investigated. Because what he's saying is he's accusing a citizen of this country that this citizen cannot be an MP because of his accent. And we had him on our show yesterday. I told him, please, explain to the people of Kawata, Muchi Nyanja. He said, Nyanja explained everything. He said, Afya liirwe kulusaka. Afya liirwe pa UTH. Banina. Bakuluwingu. Babiza. Babemba. Babiza. Bawishi was one of those who were here on Independence Day. His father was a 13-year-old boy at Independence, right here. And the Independence Constitution, as interpreted in the case of Lewanik and others, this is Frederick Chiluba, the Supreme Court ruled very categorically that every person who belonged to Northern Rhodesia, as at independence, they became citizens of this great country. So that candidate's father, who was here as a 13-year-old boy, became a citizen of this country, as a citizen as everybody else. Kawata itself, the immediate past MP for Kawata, there has been noise about his parentage or about his fidelity to be a Zambian. We have defended him. We have said that this particular gentleman is a Zambian. We have problems with his manners. We have problems with the way he provides leadership, but he is a Zambian, and that is very important. In Kawata, we did not expect that this election should have been cancelled based on these flimsy resignations.
And unfortunately, the Constitution doesn't say anything about flimsiness or not, does it?
Well, the Constitution...
Again, you know better than I do that the Constitution essentially just says where a candidate dies, resigns, or becomes disqualified. It doesn't qualify how one resigns.
That's why, Luchi, what I'm saying is that applies to the general election. It can't apply to a by-election, because if it did apply to a by-election, you are going to get into a loop of by-elections. You know, the thing is, then it means then that mafias are going to be going to these weak Tuntemba candidates, corrupt them, and you can essentially have...
I'd like you to withdraw the statement,
Tuntemba.
Yeah, I'd like you to withdraw the statement.
Okay, I withdraw. Luchi is telling me to withdraw, calling small political parties as Tuntemba parties. But how else, Luchi, can you call a particular party where...
A political party.
A political party.
Yeah, let's just call them a political party.
One member
and
political party.
We'll leave it there. Okay. Let me go back to the phone lines. Hello, morning. Morning, sir.
Chanda, I wanted just a clarification before I ask a question. Mr. Munshya, here is a question, although I was cut. My question is based on the IMF, the staff level agreement which was reached with IMF. I wanted to find out from you, because the way you are explaining, it's like you are UPNB steroids. So maybe in this regard, you are going to give us more information about IMF staff level agreement. You know, the government hasn't come out clearly on what conditions IMF has given to Zambia over this staff level agreement vis-a-vis $1.4 billion which has been bailed out to Zambia. Why I've asked this question, Mr. Munshya, you come from Chingola to Impala. So I come from Chingola to Abachama to my Teneke. You know what has happened to ZCCM? This is the fear I have as a person.
So you want to know about the staff level agreement. All right, thank you very much, Chanda. Hello, morning.
Thank you very much. Morning, Luchi. To one Brian Mutembo Kapufi. I used to be a follower of Mr. Munshya, but he blocked me on Facebook. Now, I have a question. Mr. Munshya, don't you think you are applying double standards when you say that some people used to be shot at the gun sites who are supposed to be protecting people who are being used to shoot people? But we have continued seeing this trend of citizens being shot even under our president. We saw a man being shot in Kamala South with his wife. We also saw 2 youths of Mandevu being shot, and you are quiet, Bwana. Why are you kicking a dead horse called the PF? Why can't you concentrate on doing what you used to do? And that's why a lot of people are saying you are a place quiet. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Ploy Squire, Not sure what that means.
Voice quiet.
Yeah. Morning. Let me take one last one and I'll let you respond. Hello, morning. Hello, good morning. Cannot be on this line. 226-841 0978 895 895. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, sir. What's your name?
Mr. Chikubave.
Mr. Siwale. Go ahead, Mr. Siwale.
Chikubave.
Okay. Chikubave, go ahead.
No, the panel there, the one who's speaking that the PF were criminals, they were, I'm sure he's right in the Zambians. People are tired now for a person who can come in this country and start rioting. You see, if you say that the PF were criminals, all the ministers were there, they are just moving freely. Why can't we just take them to court? Because all the machinery is in the hands of our topical president, that I didn't hear. This time around, people are not seriously listening to a politician who can come with full of rise in the Zambians. No. This new Don government, let them just concentrate on their promises. Because at this time around, we are hearing that this liquidation of UPP candidates, there is a hand also from the UPND. This is a thing which we are hearing now on the ground. So, let the UPND, if they are serious, maintain their so-called Unicaewas. Because if they continue saying rise in Zambians, people are so much clever. That when they go to Kawata, they continue lying at PF, they are criminals. While those people who are saying that they are criminals are not arrested. Why can't we just take that rate that 5 million was funded and take it to court? Why are they paying? Why the Anti-Corruption Commission are not serious? Because we would have seen that person taken to court and judged and arrested.
Okay, Mr. Chikubave, thank you very much. All right, you want to respond to those? So there's IMF staff level agreement, double standards. This is from Brian and Chikubave.
Thank you very much. So in terms of the IMF, we started hearing about the IMF a long time ago. As a matter of fact, there is nothing new with the new Dawn administration. The only difference is previously, this is public information, please. You can check it and verify it. The Lungu administration was looking for an IMF loan in order to help them. They were looking for it. The only thing was there were several issues with the Lungu administration. Remember, they defaulted on paying back the kaloba that they had borrowed. They went and begged the Chinese to say, Mwema Chinese, help us cancel this debt. The Chinese president said no. And so they were in a very, very tight situation. So coupled with mismanagement of the economy, lack of fiscal discipline, and several other things, we understand that the IMF loan that they so desperately needed, they couldn't obtain it. When the new government comes into office, this new president and the Minister of Finance, they started negotiating in good faith because they see that this loan is important to help our people to create enough money in circulation so that children in Chuempala can receive that free education. This new government was not looking at how much money would fill their pockets. If they were, they would have just ignored everything, continued to shinga bata, and steal. But they did something differently. They decided to say they are going to negotiate, and in negotiating, they are going to tell the IMF the commitments that the UPND has made to the people of Zambia. Those are the conditions. Don't let anyone fool you to say that there is somehow conditions that IMF is giving to strange conditions. No, these are the conditions that the UPND New Dawn government promised to the people of Zambia. What are these conditions? We are going to be transparent in the way we manage our economy. Transparency. We are not going to be stealing. Zero tolerance towards corruption. We are going to be transparent in the way we count the money, where it goes, who authorizes what. These are the conditions that they took to IMF. And they said, this is what we have promised the people of Zambia. If you give us this money, it is going to help us provide employment, 30,000 new breadwinners in our country, 11,000 new jobs. This is where this money is going. Those are the conditions. But you see, some people in the opposition, because they are so bitter that they mismanaged this country and they were booted out by the people of Zambia, they are lying to you that no, the IMF has brought conditions. The IMF has done this and this. There is nothing like that. Secondly, you see, every money has some conditions, for sure. For example, when I have teenage children, if they come back and say they want some money, I'm like, okay, I'll give you some money. Here you are. What are the conditions? That you use this money according to what you are saying you're going to use it. If my son asks me for money, therefore I ask the na receipt that's a condition. It's a good condition. That's exactly what happened with the IMF. The PF wanted to go and grab money from the IMF without making any commitment to how they are going to use that money. You see, but what used to happen was that they wanted to misuse, quote unquote, misuse that money. The UPND says this is what we are going to use this money for. These are the conditions that we have set it for. Give us this money so that it helps. That money has come, and today they are 30,000 new teachers, CDF funds everywhere, decentralization, and in confidence in the economy, strong kwacha. That's why diaspora Zambians are coming back to Zambia, because dollar is losing value by the day. The money that you would send to Zambia was a lot in the past. Now it's becoming smaller and smaller, and the money that the Zambians need here in Zambia to do trade in US dollars is becoming greater. And so it is all these that we would call conditions.
The double standards from Brian.
So the double standards are regarding shooting. Brian Mutembo is a very interesting fella. I know him from Facebook because I'm a Facebook lawyer. I'm a Facebook everything. Here is the issue, Brian. Brian is equating the the anti-robbery squad. Is it anti-robbery squad? When they are doing an operation. So the anti-robbery squad were responding in real time to a robbery situation going on. And when they are responding in real time, I do understand that they discharged a firearm or they searched a car. Now, he's equating that kind of an operation to what the police did to Samansama and Joseph Kawata. That is completely unacceptable. These are completely different situations. So you see, here is the problem with the opposition Patriotic Front. They're trying to create equivalences where there is none. What happened to Joseph Kawata and Samansama was extremely evil. It was wrong on so many levels. And what we need is that somebody from the former ruling party is going to own up and say, this is what we did, and we are sorry that we instructed the police to take a firearm and shoot into a crowd of people and lead to the death of 2 people. And then the cover-up that continued, the propaganda that continued, the lies that continued, that was extremely terrible. We cannot equate that to an operation by the anti-robbery squad that goes wrong. Of course, there is a lot that the minister has got to do, perhaps retrain our anti-corruption, anti-robbery squad known as C5, is it C5 or C6? And that is the dialogue that we are going to continue to have as a country. Regarding the...
this is from Chikuwabe. Chikuwabe is the last one talking about if people keep calling them criminals, but they're able to walk around, then they're not criminals.
That's exactly, because they were used, you see, the Patriotic Front was used to governing a country in a certain way. You see, under the Patriotic Front, they would just find you, arrest you, and jail you for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They would just do that. They would just do that with so much freedom that they had no conscience to know what the law said. There are several people that have been arrested under the New Dawn administration. They've been processed within days. Umuntu bamwikata olukyelo ekyungulo abwera ku ŋŋanda akonkanyapo n'okupontera ekyalo. That is a very good. Now, Mr. Chikubabe is thinking that doing that, it means then that they should not be called criminals. They've been arrested, they're being processed, and they're being investigated. Some of them are under so much pressure that balefo okuya mukupanda obwanga mwebo. Balefo okuya mukupanda obwanga pakoba bati balowa ekyalo. Imwe, you as the people of Zambia, you want truth and closure over the kind of theft and misadministration that took place under the previous government. And yet some of these former rulers, they want to go ukuya mukupanda pakoba bati bamwipae, badie. Number, it won't work because no weapon fashioned against Zambians shall prosper.
Here's a text message from someone. You touched on it very briefly, but I think he wants a bit more. This is from Noah. Can you comment on the introduction of a court within the High Court to deal with economic crimes by the Chief Justice?
Yes, so the law authorizes our Chief Justice to issue a statutory instrument to create a division of a court. It's still the High Court, except that because the Chief Justice does have authority to apportion how the cases are going to go, which judges are going to handle what. And so he has used that authority to create that, I believe it's the commercial crimes. I'm going to find out what the name is specifically. He is calling it, just give me a second here, and thank you for the Daily Mail. He's calling it the Economic and Financial Crimes Division. Economic and Financial Crimes Division. So what it means is he's repurposing the resources that he has right now, the court infrastructure, because remember, courts is not just about the judges, it's about the court clerks, it's about the judges' assistants, it's about the marshals, it's about the drivers, it's about pens and pencils and all that infrastructure. So what the Chief Justice is doing is he's going to assign particular judges, particular resources to dealing with these matters, which is a positive sign.
Yeah. Dr. Munshya is talking about the New Dawn's fight against corruption. What does he say about the scandal in that fertilizer contract for Alpha Commodity and the appointments of certain members? He mentioned some names, I'm not going to mention them, but he mentions a couple of names of appointments who are both known to be UPND members into the civil service.
All right, so the fertilizer issue, I want to investigate more on this fertilizer issue. I really would not want to comment more about it, but I do understand that as far as the fertilizer issue is that there was a scandal under the Patriotic Front government regarding fertilizer, if I'm not mistaken. But
I'll tell you what, here's what I'll do. Just for your benefit, for yourself, right. I'll let you research it. I know that you have a platform. And you can address that on the platform,
right?
So that again, you don't say anything that. Yeah. Sometimes it's always best when you don't know. You just don't.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah. In regards to this issue about civil service appointments.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one of the confusions. Zambia is a political state. What it means when we say that Zambia is a political state is that it is led by the people of Zambia. So Zambia is not a technocracy. By technocracy, it means that Zambia is not led by the technocrats. In other words, it's not the technocracy that leads Zambia, it's the politicians. It's a political state. Now, when you have a new government in place, there are roles that are political and then there are roles that are not political. However, the new government that forms government must be able to implement their policy in a way that is consistent with the mandate that they received from the people of Zambia. And so that mandate includes having people from within the political party that are going to go into the civil service and implement that mandate. That's why among the civil servants, you're going to have career civil servants, but among senior civil servants, it's important that government appoints qualified people that are going to implement the program that the people elected the government for. That is why you need some of those. Not everybody, but some of those former ruling party, former party operatives. Immediately they enter the civil service, it means that they cease to be operatives of the political party, they become operatives of the civil service and are going to serve this country. That is what it means.
You talked about conditions, the IMF conditions. Joe has thoughts. His thoughts are backed up by this This is Elias Munshya.
Amongst the strong conditionalities that were put in place for Zambia to qualify for this, IMF stimulus package was the removal of subsidy in the energy sector. And it is the fulfillment of that requirement that now consequently or subsequently brought about the hike in fuel, prices.
No, I can't speak on behalf of Honorable Mwetwa, and Honorable Mwetwa is here, and you can contact him and speak with him. However, it is very clear from my explanation that conditions are there because you need to assure the people of Zambia that the money that you're going to receive is going to be used for the intended purpose. Intended purpose. In other words, it's not going to be used to line up the pockets of the mafia. That's why these are, you may call it conditions. But like I said, if I give my son 20 kwacha okuya mukushita pen, I expect my son okuya shita pen, not nampera 20 kwacha okuya shita pen. Elo nomba aya chita subsidize somebody else. No. Na inekuti nafuru wanjibere kanshinshaka kupere 20 kwacha. Bantu ilo na kupere 20 kwacha. Instead of you buying a pen, unagula vinangu. Unapasa winangu ndarama. That's exactly what it is. So this is the understanding that we need to get here. We need to understand that these are not conditions that are being imposed by the IMF or something like that. These are conditions that we ourselves are, it's like a covenant, a promise, that once we get this funding, we are going to deal with it transparently. We are not going to use it to cover up our mismanagement, because that is the key here. The IMF might be willing to say, we want to help you solve this problem. But we notice that there is a problem here or regarding fuel, regarding all these debts that you are accumulating. If you want help, then make sure that you are putting in place measures that are going to help yourselves. And that's exactly what the UPND government did. Made a very difficult decision in order, again, to help the poor.
Okay, to help the poor. Conrad Kafunda, earlier on I talked about on a personal level. Conrad Kafunda sends this in. He says, Dr. Munshya doesn't understand the suffering that people are going through. Let him drive along the Great North Road and talk to the women at roadside markets who voted PF out. Listen to the pain that they're going through now with the rise in prices of essential commodities.
Now, you need to know something here, my friend. This president understands the struggles and the suffering of our. In fact, he's been in opposition for this very purpose for a very long time, fighting that the living standards of our people improve. Myself, I come from Chuempala, that's where I grew up, and my family is still selling at Chuempala market, trying to put everything together to see that we can survive. My own upbringing every day was and has been a struggle. But we should never, ever move away from this fact that this new Dawn administration has put in measures that are already maturing now, and some are going to be maturing as we go by. To every citizen who is feeling the pinch of the suffering, particularly the suffering that was as a result of the mismanagement of the past 10 years, know that your president cares, and he is listening, and he is making difficult decisions. Some of them may be painful now. But also realize another thing, that there are no different sets of rules for you and different sets of rules for your ruling party. Your ruling party is sacrificing. There is austerity among leaders. Gone are the days of the permanent secretary having access to 10 or 20 vehicles. It's only one utility vehicle. Gone are the days of of theft and corruption. And so if you, my friend, by that roadside in Chisamba, at that famous market, in Milenge, in Chuempala, or anywhere, please understand that your struggle is not in vain. This government is putting in measures, and before you know it, Zambia is going to be restored back to its former glory. And that's exactly what the New Dawn is trying to do. We are in this together, beginning from the head of state to the very least among us. We are sacrificing together and making strong, difficult decisions in order to right this ship. But while we are at it, let us look at the 30,000 new breadwinners that are coming into the economy, 11,000 new health workers that are coming into the economy. Let us also look at the 25.7 million CDF that has gone to the people of Zambia. When we put all this together, it should make our people feel positive about their future, wants to invest a little bit more, wants to study a little bit harder. For those that are at work, they want to sacrifice a little bit more in order to restore this country and make a difference. We now have a leader who cares, a leader who's not just mismanaging things and no, a very steady captain for this ship. We are going to emerge out of this together. Let us stand together as one country.
Let's take one last call. Good morning. Bwino band boss.
Mkamba na mwani kalenda. Kwenye kuja kambi po mtako ki kansani kama tia hivi wafuenda kwenda panda wakatakiwa mampara toka kila leo matani sisi tulivyo kutibadili mkamba disability and solo punch. Sabele kuna one of the chief really wants to appreciate their one because of what we should go to the message. Haona ka we should go to the message that which is to appreciate the government. Haona ka so the credibility straight that you know when that the mind of Sakra Mananda when the Sakra which is so that you guarantee when this is no lies and you will that way you can look at the which you take a which way all that to appreciate one what job is this another than sugar Monica so man the seven the chapter 2 if I look for you Lana Manto Monica ukataka kitu kama peace na kitu ana kitu na wewe ndio kukubali baule true ana kitu ndio na wewe ndio kukubali baule because naona mtaka kurudi na hiyo kuna baule na Luchi zinapika kushoka mataa maroti kitazani ndio baule kabisa ndio na wewe.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Let me read you two text messages and then we'll wrap up. This is from Shadrach, first of all. Remember that employing workers has been an ongoing program for every government in power. You're not addressing huge promises that were given to the people of Zambia. Low cost of doing business was the core issue in the campaign of the UPND. But what we are seeing is absolutely opposite to the promises. That's from Shadrach. There's no name on this one, but it says, I feel completely helpless this morning listening to you. In fact, someone this morning on radio made a comment regarding the postponement of the Kawata election that the learned are causing problems in parliament for enacting useless laws. Are you today and now saying it's okay for leaders to lie? You just said, and I quote, leaders should not be bound by what they promised. I say this to you, if you can't keep your promise, then keep quiet. It's biblical to fulfill a promise, otherwise don't do it.
Right. Regarding promises, I did not say that a leader is not bound by what they promised. What I said is that a leader who is in government must government in the best interest of the people. In the best interest of the people. What we have at the moment is a government leader, a president of the nation, who went into office, found that money has been stashed elsewhere. He did not have that information before, but he finds that 65 million is being hidden somewhere in a bank somewhere. He found that there was completely nothing in the coffers of this country. He looked at the fact that our country was failing to meet its obligations. Monies that had been borrowed for many years, billions and billions of that money. He looked at the fact that we needed free education. Yes, he promised free education, and he delivered it. He promised new jobs, and he delivered 30,000 new jobs. Also, all these are the promises. Then he looks at the money that is going on in fuel. Then he says, I am going to take that money. I'm not going to take it into my pocket. I am going to send it to sectors that need this money. That's what he did. That is a promise that he fulfills by taking the money that is in oil subsidies to repurpose it and invest it in sectors, paying of retirees. Millions have been released to pay retirees. Investment in social cash transfer. Some of my relatives are beneficiaries of that. He invests in free education. Next week, is it next week or the other week? Schools are reopening. Our children, if we took a dodi, kanshkuka sambika fie, ukanoneka Vaseline, off she goes to school. That is tremendous. All this is possible because there is a steady leader who, given what he finds in office, he makes decisions for the best interest of our people and the best investment for the future. That is what I meant.
Okay. Mr. Munshya, thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Luchi. I really appreciate. And please call me back again. I will not be naming anything and names and stuff like that. I'll comply.
That is today's edition of Let the People Talk. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We're back again on Friday.
This has been Let the People Talk. Let the People Talk. Join us again every Tuesday and Fridays at 09 hours for another live intriguing discussion on various issues of